Note the 6 sides on this pond turtle's back. This hexagonal pattern is an important one in organic chemistry. I think some of you in here are probably into chemistry, so you know what I'm talking about. Remember this hexagonal shape for later. For now, let's review a few basics about organic chemistry. Trust me, we will be getting to DNA and how it's twisted, no pun intended, in a few minutes. It's important that you understand the deeper implications of God's dirt. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. All organic life is based on carbon, plants, animals, and man. Carbon is the 6th element in the periodic table. In its most stable form, carbon contains 6 electrons, 6 protons, and 6 neutrons. This is known as carbon-12. The total number of protons plus neutrons equals 12. There are 6 of each, 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6, 6, 6. As number 6 says in The Prisoner, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, it's all the same. Carbon can undergo atomic, oh, we're missing another one, aren't we? Can undergo atomic changes that alter the 666 pattern of 6 electrons, 6 protons, and 6 neutrons. Carbon has 13 known isotopes. Don't you love that, 13? 3 of which are naturally occurring. Isotope literally means same place. Iso means equal and topos means place. A carbon isotope is still number 6 in the periodic table, but its chemical properties and reactions are different. Basically, an isotope has more neutrons than a C12 atom. And this naturally occurring isotopes I mentioned before are C12, C13, and C14. I'm sure you've all heard of carbon-14 testing. Carbon is the linchpin of organic chemistry, a subject that proved to be a major hurdle for me in college. And the Lord helped me out by sending me a good friend who happened to be a quirky person just like myself and also worked as a biochemistry graduate assistant. Without Richard, I would never have made it through that course. So thank you, Richard, wherever you are. One of the most basic chemical structures bears the formula C6H6, 6 carbon atoms, 6 hydrogen. Today we know it as the benzene ring, and its 6-sided symmetry is one of the first learned in high school and college chemistry classes. Benzene is an aromatic, a class of carbon-to-carbon bonds that form either 6 or 5-sided shapes. Some rings contain only carbon bonds, but others, known as heterocyclic rings, contain other elements such as nitrogen, sulfur, or oxygen. Excuse me. The phosphate sugar spines of DNA are mere frames for the important information contained inside, bonded pairs of molecules called bases that contain such rings. More on these important rings later, but for now, if you recall the hexagonal design on the back of our pond turtle shell, then you might well conclude that the old woman was right, that the Earth really does rest on the back of a turtle. But one more interesting tidbit of information concerns the scientist who unlocked the secret of benzene's shape. The benzene ring model was postulated by German scientist August Kekule. Giving fixed geometry to this fundamental structure opened the way for today's complex chemical modeling. Kekule's proposed ring for benzene, and hence for all aromatic compounds, proved to be so important for pure applied chemistry that in 1890 the German Chemical Society organized an elaborate appreciation in Kekule's honor, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the first benzene paper he had published. He said at that point that he had discovered the ring shape of the benzene molecule after seeing a reverie or daydream of a snake seizing its own tail, something we know today as the Ouroboros, a symbol for Leviathan. Here's how Kekule described this vision. I turned my chair to the fire and dozed, and again the atoms were gamboling before my eyes. My mental eye could not distinguish larger structures of manifold conformation, long rows sometimes more closely fitted together, all twining and twisting in snake-like motion. But look, what was that? One of the snakes had seized hold of its own tail, and the form whirled mockingly before my eyes, As if by a flash of lightning, I awoke. This vision, he said, came to him after years of studying the nature of carbon-to-carbon bonds. This was not Kekula's first vision, by the way. In 1890, he also revealed that his understanding of valence and bonding came by seeing dancing atoms. Whether or not Kekula consumed drugs, I don't know. But I will tell you that opium dens were quite popular in the late 19th century. Biochemical rings appear in many biological pathways. The basic structures for DNA bases are known as pyrimidines with 6 sides and purines with 5 sides. If you study the chemical formulas for biochemistry, you'll find over and over again a pattern of 6, 6, 6 coupled with 5, 5, 5, or 1, 5, such as the simple sugars pentose or ribose, which are 5-sided. After a while, you begin to think you're looking at a beehive. There are so many hexagons. Simply by adding additional molecules such as hydrogen or oxygen or nitrogen to the basic carbon-to-carbon rings, our bodies create testosterone, estrogen, and 5 very important molecules known as nucleotides. These include guanine, cytosine, thymine, adenine, inosine, and uracil. The last 2 are used only in messenger RNA and in transfer RNA. They are called mRNA and tRNA. You may have seen them. Think of our DNA database as you would a book. God created this original set of instructions with His own hands. Much as His finger wrote the original set of 10 commandments on the tablets at Mount Sinai, and during the millennia that mankind has walked this earth, this original book has been copied over and over again, often with substitutions and errors, leading to the degraded yet relatively functional set of DNA that we have today. I believe that fallen angels known as the sons of God came down to earth during man's very early years and deliberately altered this DNA book by mingling their seed with that of human women. And they did so before the flood, and we are told also afterward. We see in Genesis 6 this very moment in time. Let me read a little bit of it. In Genesis 6, 1 through 4. When men began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful. And they married, any of them they chose. That sounds like marriage, doesn't it? Then the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with man forever, for he is mortal. His days will be 120 years. Now, I don't know that this is what God meant at that point by the 120 years, but one of the things I learned when I was studying DNA at Indiana University was that because of the telomere function at the ends of our genes, at the end of each strand of DNA, it keeps the DNA from replicating more than about 120 years worth. After that, we would all simply die. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward when the sons of God went to the daughters of men and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. We don't know what God's original DNA book looked like or what instructions it contained. The scientists today postulate that the original nucleic acids were not double-stranded, but triple-stranded. The 4-base canon system attributed to Watson and Crick, guanine pairing with cytosine and thymine pairing with adenine, may have been radically different. Even the base pairs themselves might well have been a different molecular construct. Does this surprise you? Can you even imagine what it may have been like on that original day?